Happy New Year 2025 and welcome to Law Reader Channel. Episode 1.9 Today I will read. Section 8. Environmental Land Use Planning and Sustainable Cities. Chapter 1. General provisions from Article 104 to Article 114. Article 104. Purpose. This section aims to define rules for environmentally friendly land management, land use, management, urban planning, construction, and sustainable cities in the Kingdom of Cambodia. Article 105. Scope. This section applies to policies, strategic plans, activity plans, land use planning, land management planning, environmentally friendly use of land and land resources, and sustainable cities in the Kingdom of Cambodia. Chapter 2. Responsible institutions. Article 106. Responsible institutions. The ministry responsible for environment and natural resources shall be responsible for land use and land management in natural protected areas. Article 107. Roles and duties of the ministry responsible for environment and natural resources. The ministry responsible for environment and natural resources shall have the following roles and duties. A. Develop draft policies, strategic plans, and land use planning in natural protected areas in collaboration with the ministry or institution responsible for land management, urban planning, and construction. B. Liaise on land use planning and sustainable cities with a competent ministry or institution. C. Train and disseminate laws and legal instruments concerning environmentally friendly land use and sustainable cities. 37. Article 108. Development of environmental land use planning and sustainable cities. 1. The ministry responsible for land management, urban planning, and construction in collaboration with the ministry responsible for environment and natural resources, relevant ministry or institution and subnational administration, shall develop draft policies and environmentally friendly land use planning and sustainable cities. 2. Development of draft policies, land use planning, and sustainable cities, as stated in paragraph 1 above, shall be based on specific scientific information and data and shall include the following points. A. Environmental conservation and sustainable development. B. Mechanisms to protect, manage, and mitigate environmental risks. C. Public participation and right to access to information on environmental land use and sustainable cities. Chapter 3. Management and Use of Land. Article 109. Cooperation in the management and use of land. The ministry responsible for land management, urban planning, and construction in collaboration with the ministry responsible for environment and natural resources, relevant ministry or institution and subnational administration, shall engage in land use and management and construction for the betterment of development and sustainable use of land and land resources in an effective, sustainable, transparent, equitable, inclusive, harmonious, and integrative manner. Chapter 4. Environmental Land Use Planning and Management. Article 110. Development of guidelines and requirements for environmental land use planning. 1. The ministry responsible for land management, urban planning, and construction shall develop guidelines and requirements for environmental land use planning in collaboration with the ministry responsible for environment and natural resources. 2. Environmental land use planning shall meet all the following requirements. A. To consult with stakeholders on the project owner's land use plan. B. To conduct prior consultation with local people affected by the project. Implementation. C. To certify the accuracy of the proposed project with the attachment of the land use management plan and land use master plan. D. To research and acquire detailed and site-specific data about land uses, including but not limited to an inventory list of land resources, land registration information, current land uses, infrastructure, demography, land tenure rights, rights recognized by customary rules, structure, society, plant, wildlife, cross-border mobility, natural disturbances, irrigation functions, energy currents, and other relevant information. E. To utilize existing appropriate technology to conduct landscape spatial Mapping, including but not limited to determining the location, natural resource. Assessment, natural resource-related services, land use data, land tenure rights, and cultural heritage sites located in the development site. F. To provide appropriate remedies for environmental impact mitigation and climate change solutions. G. To incorporate measures to promote sustainable forest management in the project implementation site. H. To incorporate targets for environmental risk mitigation measures and value preservation measures for cultural and historical resources in the project implementation site. I. To determine the obligations and responsibilities of project owners when affecting the environment and natural resources. J. Requirement to address how the proposed land use master plan may impact greenhouse gas emissions and carbon sinks. K. Requirement to anticipate, consider, and address potential impacts that climate change may have on the implementation of the land use master plan. Article 111. Control, monitoring, and evaluation of requirements for the proposed project's land use. Control, monitoring, and evaluation of requirements for the proposed project's land use shall be under the authority of the ministry responsible for land management, urban planning, and construction. Article 112. Modification to the land use plan. 1. For any modification to the land use plan in the project implementation site, the competent authority or the project owner shall apply to the ministry responsible for land management, urban planning, and construction. 2. The application, as stated in paragraph 1 above, shall attach the following documents. A. Information on scientific and socio-economic reasons for the proposed modification to the land use plan. B. Presentation of the efforts made to retain the current land use status. C. Presentation of the effects on the livelihood of local communities and businesses. D. Present any other necessary information. Chapter 5. Sustainable Cities. Article 113. Developing and implementing sustainable city strategic plans. The ministry responsible for land management, urban planning, and construction, in collaboration with the ministry responsible for environment and natural resources, relevant ministry or institution, and subnational administration, shall develop sustainable city strategic plans. Article 114. Sustainable City Mechanism. The ministry responsible for land management, urban planning, and construction, in collaboration with the ministry responsible for environment and natural resources, relevant ministry or institution, and subnational administration, shall develop sustainable city mechanisms. By A. Defining urban vulnerability. B. Developing sustainable urban transport planning. C. Developing urban sustainability planning. D. Developing sustainable urban production planning. E. Developing urban solid and liquid waste management planning. F. Developing public green space and cultural heritage planning. G. Develop green building planning. H. Developing urban watershed and ecosystem planning for water sources and urban biodiversity. Article 115. Preparing, implementing, and modifying sustainable city action plans. Thank you for listening, and New Year 2025 will bring good luck to you all. See you episode 1.10.